Extreme Rules was okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to the WFR for the Horror Show at Extreme Rules. I'm Conman167, and today we're just going to break down the show. So without further ado, what is there really to say about this show? It was okay. It was not great by any means, man. Like, it was just okay. It had some memorable moments, but was it memorable for the right reason? I mean, we saw a dude throw up, an eye ripped out, a swamp match, and the return of the Fiend. So take that how you will. This show was just okay. But regardless, there were some entertaining matches on the card, and one of the most entertaining matches was the New Day defending their tag team titles versus Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. Look, let's just go ahead and say this. Cesaro has been a beast his entire career inside of the WWE. Shinsuke Nakamura, one of the most underrated performers that they have. I still can't believe they're not doing more with that man. And then, of course, on the other side of the ring, you have yourself the New Day, the 8-time tag team champions, a legendary team, future Hall of Famers, and I believe one of the longest reigning, if not the longest reigning tag teams in the history of WWE, a 6+ year run. These guys have been magical, haven't they? So when you obviously put that much talent in the ring against each other, there's no question they're going to put on a great match. And that's exactly what happened here at Extreme Rules. In this matchup, we pretty much saw everything we could expect from these teams. They had great chemistry using tag team maneuvers, but obviously the table stipulation was the main focus of the match. So most of the time, when they went to the outside of the ring, there was a table spot or using a table as a weapon or trying to distract the opponent by setting up a table in a different position. Tables match 101, but honestly, really well executed. And I called it before this match actually happened that I thought that Cesaro and Nakamura were going to win this match because of the table stipulation. It's easy to take the tag team titles off of somebody when they don't have to be pinned, when they don't have to submit, when you really don't have to beat them and all you got to do is put them through some lumber. That worked well. And of course, Cesaro and Nakamura looked great at the end. That powerbomb, man? Very, very nice. So nice, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing them use it as a tag team finishing move. I know they got the spin into the Kinshasa right now. Nice move. That's going to be effective in the long run. But I wouldn't mind seeing more power bombs off the top rope from Cesaro and Nakamura. Really well executed. But of course, after Kofi went splat through the table, we saw Kofi laying there. Lumber over top of him, not moving, and Big E sat on the opposite side of the ring, not helping him. Yo, Big E, what's up with that? So, is the New Day splitting up? Do they have issues? Because Big E did not seem happy. Not one bit. But anyways, let's get on to the next match. This was Bayley versus Nikki Cross. It was better than I was expecting. Much better than I was expecting. Nikki Cross actually looked like a threat, which I thought was pretty nice to see, booking her correctly. She hit her neck breaker. I legitimately thought she was going to win the title at that point. Obviously, she didn't. But yeah, Bayley and Nikki Cross, much better match than I was expecting. It was still a short match, don't get me wrong, and I feel like if Nikki Cross and Bayley were given an extra 5 to 7 minutes, this match could have crossed over in towards great territory. We haven't seen that from Nikki Cross since NXT, so it'd be really, really good to get her that marquee match. But again, the match was a little short. It ended with Bayley using the boss's brass knuckles, the thing that says boss across the knuckles. And that set up her finish. That's the match. Bayley retains. Sure. Yeah, the story has been good. Bayley and Sasha have honestly been amazing together. And I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. But the one thing that I noticed at the very end of the match, Nikki Cross was throwing almost a little bit of a temper tantrum in the center of the ring, and Alexa Bliss was nowhere to be seen. I think we're going to be getting a feud between Alexa and Nikki going into SummerSlam. Then it was time for the greatest match I have ever seen. Oh my God, this match was awesome. It was like the best thing I have ever seen. Apollo Crews versus MVP went down. No, it didn't. No, Apollo Crews was not cleared to compete, and MVP is now the United States champion. what's up with Apollo? Not legit though. They said at the start of the match, Apollo Crews was not cleared to compete. Rumors have been running rampant. People don't know if this is just a storyline or if this is in fact something like an injury or, God forbid, something like COVID-19 striking Apollo Crews. Thoughts are with Apollo. Hopefully he is okay. But that was disappointing. I was looking forward to see Apollo Crews versus MVP. Hopefully we still get that match down the line. Okay, now time, oh God, for probably one of the most disgusting matches I have seen, one of the more uncomfortable matches I have seen in quite some time. Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins, eye for an eye. You see, in this match, Rey Mysterio's eye went pop. Yeah, he lost an eye. Yeah, so, oh, let's just say this right here. The match itself was very entertaining, okay? It was different. Not saying that I want to see more matches where the goal and the purpose of the match is to rip your opponent's eye out of its socket, but I will say this much. It gave that match a full-on Extreme vibe. There was a direct purpose to why they were using weapons, you know, why Rollins brought out the pair of pliers, why they were breaking kendo sticks and trying to stab each other in the eye, why they were using steel chair legs as a weapon, you know, all the stuff made sense as to why they were using the weapons. Don't get me wrong, they still had some stuff in the match that didn't make sense, like hurricanranas being used when you're trying to rip an opponent's eye out, but, you know, it was still a wrestling match, and it was still entertaining. But that final image of the match, though, oh God, it's not like it was a bad finish of the match because it got all of us invested in it. But seeing Seth Rollins puke after ripping somebody's eye out, seeing that fake eyeball hanging down the hand of Rey Mysterio, you know, it was uncomfortable. It was straight up uncomfortable. I'm not sure what the draw is to that. I'm not sure what new fans are going to want to tune into WWE to see somebody's eye get ripped out and somebody vomit on their screen, but hey, you know, if it works for WWE, it works for WWE, but this was just a weird match that would have been really, 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 really good had there not been the disgusting ending to that match as well. I don't know. I'm a fan, but I'm not. It's just, I have such mixed emotions right now. So many mixed emotions over this match. Now, talking about mixed emotions. Bayley puts a referee shirt on, counts 1, 2, 3, and the match is over. What? Look, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the ending of the match here of Sasha Banks versus Asuka was one of the most ridiculous finishes I have ever seen. It made 0 sense. Zero! Zilch! Nada! No sense at all! What happened? Why is this the finish? Is this meant to make us hate Sasha Banks and Bayley even more? Is this meant to lead to their actual story? Look, I know WWE.com has rectified the situation, saying Asuka is still the Raw Women's Champion. And yes, I am excited to see how this story falls out. But you're telling me you're going to take Asuka versus Sasha Banks, give them 20 plus minutes in the ring and end it like that? Really? Really? That does not make people want to watch your sport. It does not make new people want to tune in. It does not make new people want to stick around, because why? Why would you want to stick around with a product that blatantly disregards rules to a match? Why are you playing her theme song when she walks away? I know the production team needed to press play on that. Why are you playing her music? She did not win. Why did the person who rings the bell ring the bell? I know he was scared of Bayley, but what happened? This match made no sense. Like, you can obviously book this story moving forward to get to Sasha versus Bayley. You can have Sasha blame Bayley for this match when Asuka eventually gets rewarded a Raw Women's Championship. But this was one of those matches everybody was looking forward to. Asuka, Sasha, the tag team champion versus the Raw Women's Champion, and you end it like that. What are you thinking? Anyways, I know most of you are going to pop off on me for not knowing the story or saying it's just the storyline, but to be quite honest, when I was watching it through for the very first time, it was a god-awful ending, and I hope WWE never does an ending like that again, because it just doesn't make sense. Makes no sense. But anyways, back to happier vibes. Let's go Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre. This one was everything it needed to be. Honestly, it was just a showcase match for Drew McIntyre. You guys know my feelings on Dolph Ziggler. I personally love him. He's one of my favorites of all time. But I knew going into this match, there was no way in hell Dolph Ziggler is beating Drew McIntyre. Not a chance. Even with the fact that he gets to pick the stipulation for this match, there was no chance Dolph Ziggler was winning this. It's Drew freaking McIntyre. And also, I'm sorry, in the middle of a pandemic, we are not going to see the WWE Championship change hands at a show called The Horror Show at Extreme Rules. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, anyways, the stipulation that Dolph Ziggler picked was that it was going to be Extreme Rules for him only. And if Drew McIntyre lost this match in any way, shape, or form, like disqualification, getting count out, anything like that, he would lose the WWE Championship to Dolph Ziggler. And personally, I loved this stipulation because it made Dolph Ziggler feel like he had a better chance of winning the match, even though most of us knew he wasn't winning it. As for the match itself, though, Dolph Ziggler sold his ass off for Drew McIntyre. And again, this was a showcase match for Drew, en route to facing what I hope is going to be a mega match at SummerSlam. Maybe Randy Orton? But it definitely got Drew McIntyre over as a babyface. I loved the kip up into the Claymore. That's a thing we need to see more of. That's like out of nowhere, sweet chin music, RKO type of vibes. Really, really, really good finish. But yeah, what's next for Drew? Let me know in the comments section below. Who do you think is going to be facing Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam? And now, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time! Fighting out of the swamp, you have the cult leader himself, the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt. And his opponent, fighting from the Strowman Express, he is your Universal Champion, Braun Strowman. Yeah, I really shouldn't quit my day job. No, but this fight, yeah, the swamp fight, if you can even call it a match, it was what it was, I guess. It looked good. The production value was obviously there, and that's one thing WWE does a good job on. The production value for these cinematic matches are definitely drawn from the budget. And I mean, not to try to crap on this, but this was the worst cinematic match WWE has put on. I honestly think that the House of Horrors match was even better than this. And that's not saying I didn't like it, because I thought this was really quite cool. It had promos built into it. It had a story, told Braun Strowman's career story, which I think is really important as the Universal Champion right now. And it had, I guess, a false finish, you know, with the whole logo coming up on the screen, trolling us, and then, of course, the mandible claw pulling Braun Strowman into the water, and the Fiend emerging from it. You know, it was a cool visual. As for a match, this did nothing for me, and thank God it wasn't for the Universal title. And I really do think the cinematic matches, if they're treated as promos, have a good spot within the WWE. But unfortunately, I feel like we've peaked with these cinematic matches. I don't think we're going to see anything better than the Boneyard match at WrestleMania. And WWE is going to try to replicate it, but I just don't see it happening. But pretty much the entire time I was watching this, I was watching it with the mindset of we're going to get the Fiend versus Braun Strowman at SummerSlam, which certainly seems to be the direction. So for that reason, I really wasn't invested in this match. Sure, the visuals once again were cool, but like, I wasn't invested. I literally went to the bathroom with like 2 minutes remaining in this swamp fight. I didn't know there was only 2 minutes remaining, but I left the live stream and I missed the finish of the match because I was not interested in it. And like, these feelings that I have could easily stem from the fact that Braun Strowman's title reign has done nothing for me and I don't care about him as a champion. That's possible, but I think it's just because WWE, you know, this was a anticlimactic end to the pay-per-view other than seeing the Fiend's face. It was cool to see, but like, cool, right? Cool. That's all. It was cool. I'm not any more invested in the Braun Strowman character. I'm not any more invested in the Wyatt character. I'm not any more excited to see The Fiend versus Braun Strowman at SummerSlam because that's a match we've seen coming for a long time now. All in all, it was a fine cinematic match, I guess. That did nothing for me. Anyways, all in all, this show overall was a show that helped bide its time to get to SummerSlam. You could tell that most of the feuds weren't there to be the final chapter of the feud. It was one of those pay-per-views that you could consider filler. And anytime that you have a filler pay-per-view that puts on some memorable moments, whether they're good or bad, you have to consider the pay-per-view a success. I don't have a ranking for the show, but it was enjoyable enough to sit there and watch for 3 hours without feeling like I was bored. And in my opinion, that's a win. Definitely not a bad pay-per-view. Definitely not a great pay-per-view. It lies somewhere in the middle, and I likely won't be watching it back anytime soon. I don't even see really any matches that I'm going to watch back. Maybe the swamp fight in the future if it leads to an awesome story, but like chances are this is the one and only time I'm going to sit down and watch this pay-per-view. But that's just my opinion. That's one wrestling fan's reaction. I want to know your guys down in the comments section below. So make sure you comment there. Let me know what you thought on the show. Make sure you also leave a like on this video and make sure you're subscribed to the channel with all notifications turned on. We will be live tonight with Monday Night Raw, so look forward to that. But until then, everybody, take care. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day. I've been Khan, and that was
The Horror Show
at Extreme Rules.